Oh, hello again. What I have here is a bowl of blocks. I'm not using this bowl, but I'm going to use those blocks and I make a new bowl using these blocks as part of the construction. Obviously they're already cut, but I'll rewind what I just did and show you how I cut these, and then we'll get to gluing them up. Okay. I'm going to do a little glue up job here. I have 6 pieces of wood. That's the beginning of it. There's 2 maples, 2 cherries, and 2 walnuts. I'm going to start cutting these up and I will glue them together. I'll show you a little bit of all of the process, and I'm going to call this the bowl of blocks. So I'm going to set these aside and we're going to get started on it right now. Okay, we're over at the workbench. Here's all the blocks, and I have the pieces arranged in a particular order. There's a piece of walnut, there's cherry, and there's maple. So I have 4 sets of these blocks like this. They'll fit around the pieces and they'll help line the joints up, and I can put clamps on them and apply pressure. I'll have a clamp this way and that way. But since these are shorter, I have 2 set up. And I just have a piece of Formica here, and I've actually used paste wax on this and that just so the glue won't stick. And I'll put this on here, and this one will go on there, and now we'll get 2 at once. So right here I'm cutting 64 pieces of oak that will be used shortly. Okay, I have 16 of these pieces glued up like that. I cut a big stack of these little strips. There's 32 of those. Then there's these little angle pieces. There's 64 of these. So what I'm going to do is assemble this in single units. It'll go together like this. So there we have it. Get the rest of them glued up and we'll move on to the next step. Alright, I have the stack of pieces that are going to be the feature ring. They're ready to turn them into segments. So I've got my blades tilted at 22.5 degrees. I'll cut each side that way. That will give me 8 segments per ring. I'll cut 1 or 2 and I'll do the rest off camera because it's going to look the same. I'm going to start the dust collector up. And let's cut some of these. So here I'm gluing the segments together for the feature ring. I have 6 more rings to glue together, and then we can start assembling the bowl. Okay, time to glue up some segments. This is the base piece. I've made it round. I'm going to flatten it off, and then I'm going to put a recess in there so that I can grab it with the chuck. There are now 2 rings glued on, plus I have a little pocket turned in the center of the base for something special. I glued this walnut ring up extra thick because I wanted to have 2 thinner rings, and it was the easier way to do it. Now I'm turning the final shape on the first 2 rows just so I won't have to reach down to the bottom of the bowl after it's all glued together. Okay, I'll let that set all day. Got other things to do. Well, I showed you a little bit of turning the inside. It's almost done. I still have 2 more rings to go on. And before I get those on, I want to get this section round. Just in case this gets a lot of vibrations, I might want to use a steady rest on it, so I need a round spot for that. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll just bring it down right to the center here, and that's what we're going to call our maximum diameter. So I'm going to use my 3/8 bowl gouge and just kind of round it up. I have this against it here to also give it some rigidity. Alright, that's good. Now I can put a steady rest on there if I need to. So right now we're going to go ahead and get 2 more rings glued on. Okay, I'm ready to give the outside a shape. I have this block just fitting in there. There's a taper on it, and I have some of the padded material. It's on an adapter that has a ball bearing. This will give me a little support while I cut the walls. Well, I had a couple different designs in mind. I was going to cut this down in. It looks so much like a barrel. I'm going to leave it just the way it is. Alright, it's time to sand. I have it running in reverse. I'm going to start with 80 grit. I'm going to use sheets. I think I can keep my shape better that way. So I'm going to work my way up to 400. I'll show you some of this. Start the dust collector and you'll see how dusty it is. I'll be back when it's time to put the finish on. Okay, time to put some sanding sealer on it. And I'm using lacquer based sanding sealer. I'm going to show you how I spray the lacquer on these types of turnings. I put a mark on here so I know where I start. Just try to keep the coats even. And I'm going to layer it on once I get right here. I'll put that on and I'll pick up to where I left off. I'm not trying to cover the whole surface this way. I'll step back up there when that comes around again. Right there. I'm doing about maybe 2 inches at a time. I had already sprayed 6 coats on and then I wet and dry sanded with 500 grit. That's it. Oh boy, I get to finish it tomorrow. Time to put the final finishing touches on this. I started out calling it the bowl of blocks, but I'm going to call it the barrel of blocks. So it's got multiple coats of lacquer on it. Now I'm going to go over it with abrasive paste. Alright, let's see if we can get this looking pretty. Let's have a look at that. Watch the reflection go from the walnut over to the Paduke. Alright, I'll finish the detailing of this and I'll come back and put some polishing paste on it and we'll have done the inside as well. I have it flipped around on my smaller set of coal jaws. The bottom needs to be flattened. I did the sanding off camera because I have something a little different for that recess. Okay, we're all sanded to 400 grit and I'll get a finish on this and we're all through. You'll see what I put on the bottom. Well, this has been a long project, but it's done. It's made out of walnut, Paduke, oak, maple, and cherry. I started out with the idea of making this more of a bowl shape, but it turned into looking like a barrel, so why argue with what it wants to be? The feature ring is made out of 8 sections and they're little tumbling blocks. They're fun to make and I think it makes it kind of unique. I tried not to show the inside and the bottom because I had intentions on putting a block on there too. I needed to do something with where the recess was and I thought, well, why not fill it with that? It's kind of cute down there. And there's one on the inside. It's about 6 1/8 inches tall, and at the widest diameter it's about 6 3/4. The top's about 6 inches, and the base is about 5 1/2 inches, and the walls are around 3/8. I finished this with multiple coats of sprayed on lacquer. I would say probably at least 10. I would sand with 500 grit, sometimes wet and dry, Scotch-Brite, and the final finishing was done with abrasive paste and polishing paste. I really enjoy making this type of a turning, and I hope you enjoyed the video.
I'd like to thank everyone for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And a special thanks to all my subscribers. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. If you're new to my channel and you feel so inclined, please consider subscribing. Thanks again, and until the next time, I'll see you later.